Happy Black History Month. No, it's Women's History Month. Happy Women's History Month. Welcome to the SmokeHouse.
All right, thank you.
Dr. Karika Parker. Mm-hmm. We are so happy that you're here at the Cauldron on Washington Ave. We're excited to begin this. Patch, I'm going to hand it to you to introduce our very, very prestigious guest.
Yes. Very esteemed, very highly acclimated. Yes. Karika Ann Parker is the Associate Director of Community Engaged Partnership and Research at the University of Western for the Lewis Walker Institute Foundation for the study of race and ethnic relations, and the ASQ Vice Chair for the Education Division Higher Education Network Group. She received her Bachelor's of Art degree in Sociology and Black American Studies, a master's in U.S. history, and her doctorate in educational leadership and organizational analysis from WMU in Kalamazoo. Dr. Parker is the president and founder of Onyx Executive Leadership Consulting, LLC. Jeez, these are a lot.
Wow.
These are prestigious.
Prestigious.
She's enjoys training boards of directors and trustees, executive level leaders, and employees with a fresh approach to leadership using complex, adaptive systems leadership to challenge their current assumptions and preconceived ideas about human resource development, leadership, and organizational learning to analyze their organization as complex, non-linear, self-organizing systems that can generate innovative learning and adaptation. Such adaptations ultimately address effective leadership, institutional inequalities, and system racism for equitable and inclusive outcomes.
Equitable and inclusive.
My thing is, these are a lot of words. These are big chunks together. How would you summarize any of this? Would you?
I teach boards that are traditionally racist not to be racist.
Oh, wow. Okay. Boards.
So elected officials.
Okay, that's what's up.
And so complex adaptive systems allows individuals to look at, from their perspective, boards are considered high level, right? Mm-hmm. And so we call that on the balcony.
Okay.
Their presidents, their CEOs, their directors are on the dance floor doing the work.
Oh.
And a lot of people that get elected to boards don't understand their roles or responsibilities. So complex adaptive systems says that you look at it from the dance floor, that's your director and president. But as a board elected official, you are to write policy, supervise your employee, and allow the bottom-up emergence of leadership to occur.
Okay, that's a pretty big job. That's a huge job. That's a huge impact that we need. Do you actually enjoy it?
Yeah, I love it.
You love it?
Yeah,
Okay,
all
right. That's like my
because a lot of people don't know what they signed up for when they get on boards.
Okay.
So.
Okay, well, I'll pass it back over to my secondary host.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. That's why I was like, did you practice the big words in her bio?
I was not
practice the big words.
I was like, yo.
I told you, the most prestigious guest we got.
Well, that's true.
No.
I thought it was me.
High five.
Welcome to the space.
Thank
you
you
for being
Thank
here.
you.
Thank you so much for saying yes.
Sure.
You know, this is our emerging project, the SmokeHouse, a space to really do that right there. The transfer of knowledge, lived experience, that right there, what we just learned we can read the bio, but having you hear that lived experience, that's what this is about.
Okay.
Sharing that. And because the SmokeHouse isn't about smoking, it's about the curation of something. That's what the SmokeHouse traditionally is. It's for you dry out the meat. It's the curation. It's the aging of it. And we're here to learn and soak up. And there's so much depth and experience, education, and knowledge within you. So this is really, again, like let me put you on series. And like you reading that and explaining that puts us on to more than what the bio says. And what you just said is fire. Teaching the boards to not be racist again. We can say a lot more, but that's real. That's real work because they be racist. They be like that sometimes, But it takes an abdominal force to move an unstoppable object. Second of all, getting right to it. Shout out Black Magic Media for letting us be here. Shout out to the boys in the back. Shout out to the men in the check chairs. Shout out to them boys, Hannah and JR, and the whole Black Magic Media team. Thank y'all for letting us use this space. We love you guys. We appreciate it. We all Love, he's behind the camera. Love. Oh, you always got to plug in Chasing Stars Entertainment. While we're members, you know, shout out Spidey, Mav, Kenneth, Justo, all of them. You know, we got a event coming up March 7th. That this might be out before or out on March 7th, to be fair. Yes, to be true. But shout out to them, boys. Shout out to the group. We got some fun things coming up this spring. So let's get right into it. All right. So taking a look at history from ancient, medieval, modern, women have meticulously crafted the narrative for what's known as mankind. Behind the scenes, women have not been always, obviously, they've been working and doing the hard work of keeping us on the straight and narrow. But what we are looking at is that the lack of representation in our lifetime, women of color, has deeply impacted the psyche of black consciousness in black homes and outside of black homes. Lack of representation doesn't have the women that we know in our lives to be matriarchs and strong people of the community and the backbones of people's entire stories. It's not to be too somber, but today we're looking at, let me put you on, is that SHEROs. SHEROs in history. And we're looking at what is a SHERO? Because a SHERO is a female hero. And the etymology of the word SHERO comes from not using the word heroine as much, or heroine. Not obviously it's close semantics or phonetics to the word, to, you know, other H word. But looking at a SHERO, a hero that is a woman. And so what we found in this, I'm going to pull it up real quick. This article written, SHERO, the new word you didn't need to, oh my word. The new word you didn't know you need, your vocabulary needed, SHERO. And what we have here is that writers often connects its rising usage to feminist contexts, including the women's suffrage movement and later women's liberation and contemporary feminist discourse. So last year, during Women's History Month, we looked at Afrofeminism on the continent and throughout the diaspora. We're getting back into this because we know that women's suffrage liberation has been often excluded to the parameters of civil rights, but they've also been the forerunners of that same movement. We have to always keep them in mind because sometimes people try to move forward without centering our women, and that's why we're talking about it now, to recenter that and to re-put them in the forefront because they've always been there. So first we'll go through a list of personal SHEROs. I had two that came to mind immediately. I'm going to start back. Growing up, I thought Harriet Tubman was the coolest person ever. As someone who grew up watching, like, you know, hero movies, comics, you know, all that, like, Harriet Tubman was top tier. And then as I got older and started doing my big boy research, but she was a military general. Mm-hmm. She was about that life for real. Mm-hmm. She carried peace on her, not for anyone else to keep things in check. Like, she is really about that. And I learned even more after the movie came out about her connection to the divine, connection to God, and the way that she was being led by dreams through her headaches and whatnot. I was like, bro, this woman was out here doing everything, leading people to freedom in numbers we can't imagine. No. Putting yourself in situations again and again and again. For some people, escaping was everything. Not for her, it was a Tuesday, but she was doing it, coming back and doing it, perfecting her craft so much that she got able. Like, I'm sorry, I don't think, as a history buff, a black woman being a general right now, a black woman being a general anywhere is a prestigious. Right. Civil War, pre-emancipation, her being a general, that is top tier. That is, you don't see that. Because what she was doing was undeniable impact. I could do a whole series about her. The next person I have on my second list is Maya Angelou. Mm-hmm. Maya Angelou, as a young man trying to push back against all the rhetoric of the stoic black man, or you gotta stop crying, Maya Angelou's realness and rawness of her voice, as well as her written word, allowed me to unravel a lot of that apathetic indoctrination and got me in touch with my emotions again. And her voice, to some people, I think, would be not what they would think a poet would have. But it was so raw. It's so real to me because the words in her lived experiences are so raw and so real. And the words to me, the cadence, the way she goes about, whether it's a bit more fictional, a bit more personal, it's always just touched me in my heart in a way that I don't know. Maybe it's because she was like one of the first people, Black History Month in education, and America's like, you only get like a couple of the greatest Black authors. Now there's so many. But she always just stuck out to me because I just loved the diversity in her arts and her works. It was just phenomenal. I could also get into a whole another podcast series about her. So I'm gonna give the microphone to Pat to talk about his SHEROs. But those are my two top favorite growing up: Harriet and Maya Angelou.
All right. So I have to say, off rip, the SHERO that I was gonna say, I'm probably gonna change the first one now, because as soon as you went, Kendall, I started thinking about Rosa Parks and how she inspired me back in the day when I was growing up, learning about like the civil rights movements and like Dr. Martin Luther King and all that, and to come to find this woman didn't want to give up her seat on the bus, and she was the whole reason to start why we stopped sitting in the back of the bus. And then I never really knew why we were doing that back then, or at the time when I was little, I didn't understand why people were treating us like that. And as I got older and started, doing more research into it, Rosa Parks was like there doing the walks and stuff like that. She was out there with Martin, and I never really knew that. I just thought she just had that one event and that had happened. From that point forward, it kind of inspired me to like stand up in the face of it, even when others around you don't want to. Somebody has to be able to stop the injustice. And a second SHERO of mine would be the first female astronaut, the first Black female astronaut, actually. I can't remember her name right now. I definitely wrote it down somewhere. Mae Jemison, yeah. Jemison, thank you. She inspired me, too, when I was learning about science, because I'm very deeply into science and technology of whatnot. And during the time when I was growing up, I really didn't think I could do anything or much of anything towards those fields. I didn't think I was like smart enough. But hearing her story and how she was able to get onto that mission, get onto that rocket ship, and able to be the first Black female astronaut, I was like, wow, that's actually amazing. Like, that's really inspiring. Like, you really broke through the odds, broke through the veil of everything, and proved and burned through history for that. And she's continuing to still do things such now. I found out she had like a foundation that she currently does still, and she still does talks and whatnot. And it just goes to show that she continues to spread that inspiration and that kind of mindset onto the community still. Right. And I enjoy that.
That's fire. Man, anything you want to say, Doc, about our SHEROs?
Well, I think your list is amazing. So I'll wait, though.
You'll wait?
Yeah,
okay.
I love it. Great.
I like we said too, Patch, about it's not just the accomplishments that make a person, it's the journey to it. Because all those self-depreciating comments that you may have had towards sciences or educating yourself or getting better, the entire institution was saying that to her. Yeah. The entire culture was saying that to her, and she probably battled those same thoughts, but coming in a place where it's much more punitive based upon your skin color. Like, she went through those same list of questions. Oh, maybe not me, then why not me? And teetering that's really powerful, I think that sometimes we get caught up in trying to get a title or get these accolades to be somebody, where you already are somebody.
Exactly.
And then by protecting and cherishing that passion, you'll get the X, Y, and Z and the experience to have the title X, Y, and Z, But that was really cool.
But what it reminds me of, and you mentioned Black Past in my bio, and if you've ever seen the movie Hidden Figures.
I think I have.
About the
Taraji Henderson.
The Black women scientists of NASA. Well, there was really a fourth one.
Amazing movie.
And that is Christine Von Mann-Darden. And she was an aerospace engineer. But because of the time frame of filming the movie, they couldn't include her story.
Oh.
But she was one of the youngest scientist hired by NASA, and she's still alive.
Oh, wow.
And she is part of the work around the sonic boom and the sound.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you can read more about her on Black Past.
Write that down.
I like how you mentioned about science and women in SHEROs. So,
Wow, that's amazing. Because talking about, like, we talked about that before, but I don't think I fully eclipsed that she was still alive doing that
she's
work.
still alive.
She came at the,
She's retired now, but she's still alive.
Alive doing that work. And that's amazing, because that's like, she came in like the 70s and 80s. It's still part of that program what NASA was doing. That's really cool. What did you have for him to write down? Very good. Thank you. Let me use your pen as well.
Sure.
No, it's okay.
I can get it to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, so we're going to small transition. Again, so these stories about women of prestige in different areas, whether it's literature, astronomics, education, there are often people in our personal lives that are underrepresented or sometimes very, very present in your life that have a strong presence in your life that really represent a foundation of who you are. Those are like I consider our personal SHEROs. So I'm actually supposed to give this. I'm gonna go, and then you can go.
Yeah, go ahead.
You feel me. And so when I think about personal people who helped me overcome those self-depreciating thoughts, who have pushed me through I was struggling in school or struggling. I took a break from school and going back to school. Who was there for most for me? Who was most present? For me, it was my mom and my auntie. It's my mom's twin sister. They both like drove out here to Kalamazoo to help me move in. Like I go over to my auntie's house sometimes when she's not even there to kick it with the dogs, just hang out there. Like she's just, she's my godmom, as well. And like my mom and her are twins, so obviously they're super close. So they grew up like 7 minutes down the way. So and I was the only child, so growing up, whenever we went on vacations, one of her kids would come with us, and kick it with us. So it was always just that relationship of kind of like really having a second mom. It's my aunt's really like a second mom. And then being so close, I got to see a strong sisterhood at a young age that really like showed me that they showed me the good and bad of sisterhood, the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of having a twin. But really, that relationship, that those two people were just so influential in my life. And I could go on a tangent, but really, as an adult, the people who supported me in times when I didn't feel like up to supporting myself, people were checking in on me. I went a day or a couple of days without checking in. They blowing my phone up, making sure I'm good. My auntie sold me my first car right out of junior college when I came out to Western. She had me on a payment plan. I only had so much money right after COVID. But I could only be here so long without a car, and she helped me out like that. Shout out CC, the Civic, the Honda Civic. But that's just my two favorite matriarchs. I'll pass it to you.
Yeah, because piggybacking off what you said with the two moms thing, I actually in my life had a secondary mom in the part of my life where I went to Japan, where I was off on my own. So I'll talk about my mom first. My mom has always been my personal SHERO, the most hardest working woman I know, and honest in my opinion. Always kept a job. Always kept 2 jobs, almost if she had to. Did whatever she needed to do for me when I was a child, even though I really didn't need much. Yeah, always made sure I was happy, taken care of, and then made sure I always was a good person towards at the end of it. Made sure I kept a good head on my shoulders. So when going through sports as a young male, there's a lot of aggression and anger that I had locked away, because also growing up I didn't have my father in my life during a lot of the period, so it was just her and me. And when I did sports, I never really understood why I wasn't good at anything. I always had this failure complex, but my mom always was there to pick me up off of my brain and was you don't have to stress yourself about this. You don't have to keep beating yourself over this. If you don't think this is for you, you don't have to strive for it. And that's something that I really enjoyed. I thought it was she was kind of what is it? Being soft, hands-on. But no, she was really just wanting me to morally calm my mind so I could focus on what I really do want to do and just be happy. And then my secondary mom, after my mom sent me off to the military.
Every year that you set you off, you gotta.
She sent me off. I love her.
She set you off.
I met Sergeant Bowers, who met me at a very awkward time in my life. At a time in my life where I was pretty depressed. I was in a very low spot, but I still like had this kind of work ethic or charm to me, and she could tell. And she would know always when something is wrong, something is off. That's why I called her my mom, because I was like, bruh, you are really literally like my mom. I don't understand this. And she really was the one that like pushed me to like really finding like my passion in life, like what I really wanted to do, because she knew when I was in the Air Force that in my mind that wasn't my decision. This was not the career path that I wanted to choose. She was like, what do you actually want to do? And then like, how are you going to get there? But never forget, you have to still make that decision on your own. Nobody else can make that decision for you. It has to be for you. Because I did want to get out the military during the time, but she wanted me to make it a more realistic look at the value, because life was about to be different if I did get out. And she was a rock for pretty much all of it. My mom thanks her, because there was times where I was really low and she was there for me. Like I didn't cry with her before, real deeply. And she still sticks with me to this day, because I wouldn't be here striving this way for real without her. And that's one of my personal favorite SHEROs.
That's fire. Clap it up for Badger, the personal hero, for the personal SHERO, the personal SHERO.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
My veteran homie.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to have a quick commercial break.
Okay.
Commercial break. We're shouting out Black Magic Media.
At the cauldron.
At the cauldron. And we love this space. We appreciate it. Come down, check it out, give a review at the next event. Dr. Parker, this is your first time here. What are your raw, unfiltered thoughts about this space?
Well, I think that the space for me, I love the way it's decorated.
Yeah.
Right? And I love the fact that there's 4 black males down here doing this thing. And so for me, y'all being down here is what makes the space the space. So shout out to the brothers that's holding it down.
Yeah.
Shout out to the brothers holding it down.
Black Magic Media.
Black Magic Media.
Right.
Welcome back to the cauldron. Man, so we are again honored to have you here, Dr. P. So we just shared some of our personal stories quick, but this is Women's History Month, so they don't want to hear no more brothers talk. You know, we're going to hear from you, member of the community. So we're honored to hear from you the stories of women in your life that have transformed and guided your story. And then we can transition to more matriarchal society, the women in high spaces. But I'm thinking about 2-3 talking points to look at your journey to where you are today, sitting here. We're looking at, start off with the woman of stature in your hometown. So who was there when you're from Kalamazoo?
Yes, born and raised.
I knew that, but they don't know that. But born and raised in Kalamazoo. So where are you from in Kalamazoo?
Well, first I lived on Ada and Burrell Street, and then I lived in Interfaith, what we call Patwood. Yeah, that's where I'm from.
From the spot.
That part.
About that life.
All about it.
All about it. And so when you're in that space, growing up, I talked a little bit about the story of, when you decided to become like the doctorate, what that was and what it meant to you and the goal you had for yourself. But, who was around, supporting that, illuminating that goal and cherishing it?
Well, I'm a product of parents who were 15 and 16 years old. And so my mother eventually had me at the age of 17.
Were you the oldest?
I am the oldest, and out of 4. And my parents, even to my dad, he recently passed away, but they've been married. I'm 52, and they've been married that entire time.
Wow.
Even getting together that young, right? So
shout out to
thank you. I have to say my mother first, because she could have decided not to have me. But she decided to, right? And also my grandma. So I spent a lot of time at my grandma's house, and my grandma on weekends, that's where I would go, and that's where I learned how to cook. And so when I saw the whole SmokeHouse, I'm like, what we cooking? Like,
we cooking up some
Like,
knowledge.
what are we making, right? And so my grandma and my mother, both of them, my grandma's education, very limited. My mother never graduated high school. But growing up in Patwood, my dad had bought a stamp, and the stamp said Lewis Parker Jr., PhD. And so my parents had a bookshelf in our apartment, and where most kids were outside, we had to be in before the streetlights were on. I grew up in a two-parent household, very strict household. And so when I saw the stamp, my thoughts were, what's a PhD? I'm 10 years old, and I learned that it was the highest degree one could earn. And then I saw Dr. King's name, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and then he had a doctorate, right? And so growing up, not only was it my grandma and my mother, but it was my dad ordering that stamp. And I realized in my own heart at the age of 10, I want that for myself.
Man, that's powerful. That's powerful. So in that transition, you know, you're in your hometown, you got your eyes set on the highest degree of education. So take us through, you know, that process, education, that college experience. You know, who was there for you when you were, you know, leaving grandma's kitchen, leaving mom's house, you know, going to those spaces. I think we did mention your degrees, but where'd you go to college? Where was they all? Where were your degrees from?
So before I go there, if I may, say that it was my time at Hillside Middle School.
Hillside Middle School, okay.
Yeah, and Dorothy P. Young was my principal.
Dorothy P. Young, okay.
And Mrs. Young, we've now since named the cafeteria after her.
Oh,
There's
nice.
a street behind Hillside, which is off Alamo after her.
Okay.
And so
Yeah,
in
Hillside,
spearheading that, I spearheaded that.
You did that?
Yes.
Absolutely.
The district and her children.
Absolutely.
Because at that time, Mrs. Young was very influential. I would spend weekends at her house too.
Oh, nice.
And so from 7th grade to 8th grade, I had first met her in elementary school.
Okay.
And here's this black woman who's a principal. And you're talking about being about that life.
Sharp.
Yes, she was. And we had a lot of respect for her, me personally. And during the time where I was experiencing a lot in school, my dad ended up getting on crack and was on crack for like 17 years. But he was still a central figure in our life. But at that time, you go from loving school, being in school, having Mrs. Young, right? So even before I get to college, it's having Mrs. Young in my life.
Yeah.
Right? Because it was traumatic for my mother as well as for my grandma, because we were used to my dad being a positive role model. And he still was, because he would always say street and home are two different things. I've never had anybody violate me, even when my dad was in the streets, because they knew.
They knew ball.
Yeah, they knew. And they...
That's Parker now.
And so, like, that was a big deal. But I think that to get to the other part of your question is, I came to Western because of Mrs. Young.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you for going back and
there was a program
walking us down.
where yes, I'm a historian, so if you allow me, I'll walk this thing out for you.
Walk it out. Oh, walk it out.
Right. And so I'm in 8th grade, and leaders from Western Michigan University, including Ben Wilson, had a class, and he taught Black history. Nice. And we were allowed to come to Western. So I'm in 8th grade. We go visit, I'm like 13 years old. We go visit the campus.
Walk us down through the history of how you got exposed to Western was through the principal in the class with the gentleman Ben Wilson.
With Dr. Wilson, who was a professor of Black Americana Studies. And my dad at that time worked at Western. There was apartment, not at Western, but at an apartment complex around Western. And so we were familiar because my dad would bring me clothes, like when people would move out of their apartments. A lot of things were left behind, and my dad would bring shoes and clothes and basketballs home to us. And he would always speak about like Western, et cetera, and like a lot of textbooks I would get from my father. So even though he was on drugs, he worked.
The textbooks behind.
He was working and doing the drugs, but then eventually the drugs took over. So although he didn't get a chance to achieve his dream, the seed was planted.
Absolutely.
So I walk into this class. Mrs. Young has several of us go up to campus. And it was always about having underrepresented students. That's why I don't use the word minority, because unless you understand our history, you'll understand we are not a minority.
No, we are quite,
That
in fact,
is
the
so
majority.
Absolutely.
Might be a little
Everything-
marginalized in this place. However, we are.
Absolutely. We are not a minority. And I remember looking at some paperwork, and next to my name it said at risk. And I'm thinking, at risk? What am I at risk for? We get to, it's at that early age,
you're,
I
like,
always
attached to your
pick,
name.
yes,
Wow.
at that, I immediately picked up as a child labels and names because I was well read. So we get to Western, and I walk into the classroom with Dr. Ben Wilson, and it's a Black Studies course, and I sit up front because that's just what I do. I've always sat up front in class.
Yep.
And he asked the students of the class a question. Now, mine, I knew the answer, but I'm 13. I'm like, no, I don't want to answer. I'm just going to sit here, right? Nobody said a word, Kendall.
Not a word.
So I was like,
Well, I guess.
Answer, so you
I have the answer. I want to answer him, but also I'm afraid. But I was afraid because of all the students, but I liked him. Do you know why I liked him? Because at that time, you could drink in the class. He would be drinking in the class. He was smoking a cigarette. And
All right, who got the answers?
and he cussed
He was
like, oh
like
my
a sad-
God, oh my God, he cussed
He teed
so
up on
bad. And I felt like I was around my dad.
Right.
Because my dad could cuss you out, and before you even knew, you were just cussed out, like so bad, right? So like absolutely. So he smoked
my-
and he cussed, but he was brilliant, and he was Dr. Wilson. He reminded me of my dad, and I felt like this is
But
so
brilliant. You
comfortable,
could, wow.
right? He's like my dad.
Made a
right?
space for you. Yeah.
And I slowly lift up my hand. He was like, "Darling, you got the answer?" And I was like, "Yes, sir." And I answered the question. He said, "Y'all let this little child walk in here and answer this question, and y'all didn't have the answer?"
Wow.
And at that moment, I said, "Oh yeah, I'm at home."
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
This is it. So,
This is
you know,
space.
I got exposed to Western in 8th grade, and then went to high school at K Central, and I was class president
Oh,
at
of
K
course.
Central. But because of the addiction in my family, I dropped out of high school. And this is the part of the story I'd never want to leave out. Because college is one part, but it's the lived experience that I hope that your viewers can hear, is that although I was doing well in school, your home life determines a lot of your not only experiences outside of the home, it determines how you are facing the world.
Absolutely. Yeah.
By 11th grade, with Daddy's addiction, I just could not focus like I had focused before, and I dropped out.
Wow.
And I'm proud to say when I dropped out, I then kicked it for about a year.
Kicked it.
I mean, I kicked it real
You
good.
kicked it. Here you not.
I had a good old
You
time.
had kicked it for you. Had a good old time.
Because I had never been exposed to being outside past the street lights.
The freedom of everything.
Yeah, I that
Call of the
wasn't me.
night.
No,
Yeah.
that called the night, right?
Yeah.
So when I walk into Old Central, everybody that was kicking it beforehand, I walk in, they were like, "Oh my Lord, what are you doing here?"
It's like, wait, not this. Not
Everybody
supposed to
like,
be here.
and so I'm like, "You're not supposed to be here. What are you doing here?"
Like, what's going
and
on?
I was like, "Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
gosh.
And because I would help everybody with their homework,
Right.
and,
Oh,
you know,
wow.
everybody was like having sex and smoking, and I wasn't doing any of
None
that.
No.
So when I walk in, they're like, "Oh my
Something's wrong.
Lord,
Something's wrong. Something's actually not well.
Not
Not you. Literally not you.
Yes, I was. But everybody said, "You like a mama type." Like, we're young, like 17, 18, right?
But you were handling business. You got three younger
true.
siblings.
Yeah,
you know,
I
you were
was
handling
always
business. So
handling
for them, it's like,
responsible in the room.
why is she taking a day off? Or what's happening? What's happening? You know, for real, underneath the surface, if you're here, there's a lot more beneath that.
Right, and
you
you
know.
bring up a good point of being the oldest person in my family. is
Yeah.
taking care of my siblings.
Yeah.
That's always been me, right? And so I did graduate from Old Central, and I then transitioned to KVCC.
Hey, shout out KBCC.
Shout out KBCC.
And
Shout out KBCC.
and I loved it.
Loved
I
it.
loved every minute of it. And then at night, I would take night classes, and I would practice writing on the boards when our class would be over, because I said one day I'm going to teach here.
And then you got that experience.
And in my undergrad, yeah. So in my undergrad.
But you envisioned it and manifested, I'm going to be here.
Yeah, I saw
I know I'm going to be here.
Yeah, and went through Valley, transitioned to Western in 2000. So I graduated from Valley in 99, went to Western in 2000, and then, of course, I had Dr. Wilson. And
he was still there. Yeah, of course, he was still there. Yeah, he was still there.
So my major became sociology and Black Americana Studies.
Absolutely.
And so when you talk about pre-college, it was Mrs. Young, it was my grandma, it was my mother. And then also was a friend of mine named Margot Light. Because early in my career at that time, I worked with people that had dementia and Alzheimer's. And so I did that private duty work, and I met Margot Light, who was a college professor at K College.
Okay.
And she taught German languages. And I met her, so she was another influential woman in my life during that time of Valley and Western Michigan University.
Wow, that's powerful. At your time, well, I was going to make you say, did you enjoy KVCC or Western more? But it sounds like...
Well, that's actually a good question.
Okay, yeah, I'll ask you.
Because at Valley, what ended up, I loved KVCC, and I tell anybody,
I hear about it,
go to Valley first.
Yep.
Oh yeah, community college first. Yeah,
always
go get that. Yes.
I think that what makes Valley unique is that back then, and I don't know if it's the same way now, but back then, Valley was a very loving, warm, and our president at the time, Marilyn Shellac.
Okay.
I walked in her office and I said, one day I'm going to be the first Black female president.
Hey.
And she had that same reaction. She was like, really? I was like, yeah. She was like, wow. She was so surprised that I walked in there and said that. They got the news media out. They came and did a story on me because she just couldn't believe I walked in there and said that.
Oh my God.
I feel like I'm actually shocked.
Sure.
Come talk real quick.
And so
so you just went in there just to say it, just to let her know.
Yes.
Like you would have a meeting just to be like, I just want to put you on. I'm gonna do it. Yeah.
Of who I am.
Yeah.
And I love this place, and I thank you for the opportunity to come here. I dropped out of high school, but I've always wanted to go to college. I thought I'd be at HBCU, but I'm here. My professors here have been amazing. And this is where I belong. And so Valley is about that life for me. In fact, I had another professor at that time, and I had a sociology class and a Black history class.
Of course.
Both those professors recommended that I take over both their classes, and I was in my undergrad.
Is it take over?
Take over.
While you're in.
So I started teaching at Valley in 2003 until 2010. Part-time instructor.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. So getting to Western,
you're already comfortable on that whiteboard. You're
I'm
already
very
comfortable.
That's
Yeah, you was
just
already
what
there.
it is. Yeah, absolutely. And so then when I get to Western, this is the first time we have a Black president, Elson Floyd.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, yeah.
And Dr. Floyd, he has since passed away. But I walked into his office.
Yes, you did.
And introduced myself and welcomed him and said, I'm so proud of you. And whatever I can do as a student, tell me. And I wanted to go to the Uongozi Institute in Kenya. And I was actually selected. And he wrote me a letter, a recommendation.
Wow.
I didn't end up going, but I was selected.
That's amazing.
And so when I got to Western, I had Dr. Floyd.
Nice.
And so when you got Dr. Floyd, you know, in your corner.
Writing letters a wreck. Yeah, you got that.
I just, you know, Western became the place for me. It's been now 25 years.
Yeah.
Since now 26 years since I transitioned to Western.
Wow.
And so I love Western. That's why I'm still there.
That's full. I didn't want to tear. I'm glad I asked the question. I'm glad I got that out. That's really cool. So you transitioned to a student at Western. You were still teaching at KVCC.
Yes.
That's really cool. That's really cool. You ever had any like peers become students, or seen any from KVCC at Western in your experiences?
Have I had my peers become a student of mine?
Or anyone that you knew at KVCC come at Western and Dr.
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah. I've got a lot of people that a lot of people at Western don't know that I know because I've had those people as a student at Valley.
Okay, that was my student.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was getting at. Yeah,
absolutely.
They don't even know. They don't even know. Man, that's really cool. That's probably been a bunch of I just know you sitting there like, I know that person.
Absolutely. And people walk
My
up,
student.
like that's my former. And I was like, how do you know that person? I'm like, oh, that's my former student. Or they'll walk up to me and say, hey, they show a lot of love because back then, I used to have assigned this map of Africa. And all my students had to know every country.
Period.
And that the United States could fit 7 times inside of Africa, that Africa was a continent.
Not a country.
And that Egypt
yeah.
was in Africa. Egyptians are not white.
No, they're not Middle
And
Eastern.
so a lot of people, right. And a lot of people don't understand that. So
That's true.
me getting my master's in U.S. history was pivotal.
I hear that.
And I wrote my master's thesis on women of the movement, and it was called SHEROs of the struggle.
Say swear.
I beg your pardon?
My bad. I was going to say swear. Your master thesis.
SHEROs of the struggle?
Yes.
That's
Wow.
amazing.
That's
That's
amazing.
actually that coincides with it so well.
Life be like that.
Right?
God be like that.
I swear. Divine
It
timing.
does. Yes.
Literally, wow. Sheroes of the struggle.
Yes.
We should title our Sheroes. No, we can't take the name. We can't copyright. No plagiarism. Man, wow. So I'm gonna thank you. Thank you for that. We just ate. You know what I'm saying? We just ate. We were just fed. You know, my cup is very full at the SmokeHouse. So thank you for that. The last question I want to get at was looking at, you said 25, going on 26 years at WM Western Michigan, teaching at KVCC, teaching at WMU. And as you became a pioneer for people, a guiding light for people, who was there, supporting you in that? As iron sharpens iron, who was an intellectual peer in that space as you've been navigating WMU after all these experiences?
My intellectual peers are those women that I have read about and wrote about. I think about women of the civil rights movement, and I think about Ida B. Wells, who first boycotted the trains. Then I think about 1944, Viola White, who decided she didn't want to give up her seat.
The first.
Then Claudette Colvin in 1955, and she was 15 years old and pregnant.
Oh, wow.
Long before
Rosa.
decided to give up her seat, right? And so I think about Annie Devine, out of Mississippi, who worked with CORE, which is Congress of Racial Equality. I think about Joanne Robinson, who cranked out 20,000 leaflets and put it on everybody's car to say, do not ride the bus. I think about Septima Clark, who worked with students and worked in communities, and Lucy Diggs Slow, who helped start AKA, Maya Angelou, who I met over in Albion, and
nice.
I hugged her and I kissed her on the cheek, and she talked to me, and it was beautiful.
Wow.
But the work that I do, women in this community aren't so much shaping or have shaped my life, it's women of the past.
Absolutely.
Fannie Lou Hamer, who was beaten, a political activist who was beaten. And so it's their lives and their stories that I seek to then not only record it, but talk about those that are anonymous.
Yeah.
Yes.
The anonymous part.
I've worked in public health for a long time before I, came back to Western full time. And being in public health, being in community is important to me.
Absolutely.
So I can't say that there's one woman, after graduating from college who has inspired me. In fact, it's the women that came before me
Period.
that drive me. And they drive me because they were beat over the head. They cooked the food for Dr. King and Ralph Abernathy. They were the one that ironed shirts. They were the one that took care of each other's children when they had to work as maids in other people's houses.
Absolutely.
They were the ones beat by the police. And so there are individuals in this community who have been larger than life figures for me, as I've mentioned earlier, but it is the history of those women
Absolutely.
that I seek to receive inspiration from. And also there's over 700 women of the Bible that have never been known by name that keep me
That part.
focused on what my assignment is.
Absolutely. And that's actually a fire transition into a Patches segment of Women in High Spaces.
Yes.
I think now me and Dr. P work together So one thing I know about Doc, there ain't nobody like Doc, but Doc. Intellectual peers, ain't nobody like Doc, but Doc. You know what I'm saying? Nobody like Dr. P, but Dr. P. When it comes to being about that life, but also the level of care and intentionality you put to everything that you do.
Yeah.
You know, so the question in my mind was like, I mean, yeah, someone might have been helping you out, but ain't nobody like Dr. P.
Yeah, like I think that for me, to be frank with you, it's about my walk with God.
Absolutely.
Because when I am in service, and being in service means being a historian, being a storyteller. It's about being representative, but also being there for a person like you, right? And so all the things that I've ever gone through in life and experience and interacting with other women, of course, and men, it's so that I embody what Christ would have me to embody.
Absolutely.
Right? And no one gets that credit but him.
No. Nothing but him.
But him.
You,
and him being the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Let us be very clear on which
God
I'm
talking
talking
about. We'll be very clear. Yes, very clear. Not just no ambiguous him.
That's right.
And I think what you said is so influential about, like, you about that life.
Yes,
you've been fighting that good fight,
yes.
but you're so always giving the credit out because it's much more than just you. Right. And what you're being empowered by, that living spirit, that Holy Spirit, that breath of life that's really pushing you forward into these spaces, is also, like you said, it's storytelling. It's accountable people who are anonymous, and that's the real breath of life that I think you bring, shown to me so much, and just knowing you, that it's really like you're embodying that like 110%. I don't got enough words to even, but you embody that, and I know that you're being moved by the Spirit, by how you walk, by how things are subtly that you pick it up, you're observing. I know it's just the Spirit moving through you constantly.
And I think for me, women, we're talking about Black history and Women's History Month, women have remained anonymous. Okay. And they are not given the credit for the struggles in which they've overcome. That's why I like your opening questions about the women that have influenced the both of you, and you say them by name.
Absolutely.
I am a person who, the work that I do, the research that I do, I have been erased on the very work that I do. And people will take credit for work that they did not do. Exactly. But they present as if they did. And so because of the work that I do around anonymity, I am experiencing such anonymity, right? And so that's why it's so important for me to not only give credit where credit is due, but be a voice to say, if you did it, I want everybody to know you did it, so that others don't take credit. Again, the written word, if it's not written down, we don't have our story to tell.
If it's not written down, we don't have our story to tell. I like that.
And we have to write it down. And we can't expect someone else to write it down.
No.
We have to write it down.
Absolutely.
And so although the women before me struggled, I have struggled, right? At the end of the day, my legacy is that I will record and write the story. Because once it's written, it's permanent.
Yes. Wow. That was powerful. And that's a great way to transition into my next portion is going up, because growing up in America at the intersection of women of color, representation of body, mind, nor spirit was not seen in abundance. However, the undeniable impact that women have had and continue to have on the cultures of the world have been sung and as praises of triumph and sorrow for all of history.
Yes.
So with women in high places, this section that I'm getting into, who are the personal trailblazers and pioneers in history and contemporary fame that have shown you nothing is impossible? And I know I want to get into music, but I think I want to go to my third one first. A personal trailblazer in your life that has impacted your life and all women's lives that just doesn't get enough recognition at all to you.
The birth of civilization, mitochondrial DNA,
Whoa.
comes from the Black woman.
Ooh, okay, period.
Period, point blank.
Point blank, indeed. Okay.
And I'll leave you with that.
All right, okay, wow. That was, so can you elaborate more on that? Hey,
Sure.
yeah, yes, please. Yes, please. Yes, please. Yeah, laugh at me. I'm about to say, I'm going to ask a dumb question.
Yeah, that's not a dumb question, though. Like, I think that if you understand where you come from, right, and the entire world comes from a female, and you're female because we possess wombs, W-O-M-B, right, woman. When you birth the world, humankind, human beings, and yet you live in a world, a society that continually diminishes you. Whether you're in science, whether you're in history, whether you're in community organizing, whether you're cooking food, why is there an intent to erase you? An absolute attempt to erase these trailblazers, right?
Yes.
Michelle Obama, who I love, is a trailblazer.
Big one.
You can't erase her, no matter how much they try. And so that's why it's my job, okay? It's not Michelle's job to continue to tell her story about becoming. It's my job to tell y'all why she became. Exactly. And to tell the next little girl, you will be the next becoming Michelle Obama.
I like that.
Right, so your question around, you know, women and life and the things that we've done, our goal, we raise boys, okay?
Yep.
And two-parent households or parents that's raising their child by themselves. Understanding that when you raise men, like for my own boys, I'm raising husbands.
Yes.
To teach you how to treat a young lady. Because if I don't teach you, I can't expect the world to teach you, because I know how I want to be treated. And for my sons, how do you want other people to treat me as your mother?
That's true. That's a big thing.
Because how you treat your mother is how you treat women, right? And so how we treat women, how do we treat each other, right? And so trailblazing is one part of it, but it's about the human heart and the human condition of how do you treat people? How do they feel after you've left their presence?
What impact do you really leave behind once they talk to you? I like that.
But they may not remember what you said, but they'll remember how you made them feel.
That's true.
The feeling.
That's true. Okay. Well, transitioning from there is you. Kendall kind of already asked us a question about before you became a doctor, but more on the side, I guess, the teachers in history. Is there anyone that you would like to mention that impacted you that doesn't get recognition in that regards too? Yeah,
my 4th and 5th grade teacher, Mrs. Weaver.
Oh, wow.
Mrs. Weaver. What you hear in interviewing me is that it was my early experiences that shaped me, right? And at the time, we used to do handwriting in class. And I didn't know I could write. I had pretty handwriting. Mrs. Weaver says, oh my gosh, you're writing in cursive, like an adult.
Yes.
And that was one of the first times I heard a teacher acknowledge my writing and that I had beautiful penmanship, right? Because oftentimes, I come from Patwood, we get free and reduced lunch. You automatically put in one line because you're poor.
Yes.
You go down and get free cheese because you're poor. You go down to Old Central because you get presents
because you're poor. It's already this label that's already put on
labeled. When the dope gang came to Kalamazoo, I lived in the epicenter of the crack epidemic. And so you have all of these societal ills that are layered on you, and layered on you. But what comes to my mind is that, that's right, Mrs. Weaver would come to my house for conferences. And one day she showed up, I was in 4th grade, and she asked my parents if I can have her. She says, can I have Karika for 5th grade? They're going to allow me to have 2. I thought myself, I don't want to be in your class. I said, no, I want a new teacher. There's nothing like getting a new teacher. You find out who your new teacher is, right?
That's so funny.
But what I didn't realize was Mrs. Weaver had so much respect for me that when she died, and she ended up dying, and Gail Rumpf, an African-American woman who I just love, was one of the most strictest teachers I ever had. And who did she remind me of? My dad.
Okay.
And my mother. And Mrs. Rumpf took over our class, but I learned that Mrs. Weaver wanted me to carry the candle at her funeral. And it forever changed the way I thought about a teacher and my relationship with them. and after Mrs. Weaver, and then Mrs. Niebuhr, who has passed on too. But it's those early relationships with those women, and it wasn't about race.
No.
You see,
It
it showed me love, right? And real love doesn't see race, color, creed, or anything like that, right? And so my life is around exposing those that get away with.
Oh, exploiting those things.
Correct, right? So we haven't talked about my written work, but lynchings. I write about who took the picture of the lynching. How did you know to show up that day?
Right. Oh,
Who told you what time to be there that we were going to lynch this person?
Yeah,
they didn't have cell phones, Kendall.
Yeah, no.
How did y'all know what time? And y'all brought lunch. And the photographer that was hired, and the judges that knew about it. So I'm writing to expose them.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Oh, I like that. And see, when you started talking about your teacher from the past, you brought up a teacher of mine that has stuck with me from 3rd grade all the way to 5th. Yeah. Mrs. Guillory, shout out to her. She was there for mine till I graduated, till I left and went to the military. That really, I guess, was like my second mom, because I don't know what she saw in me, but I was like teacher's pet from like day one. And ever since then, she like always picked me out of the group. She's like, "Oh no, Mom, you come with me." Didn't come with me because later on she became our art teacher, and she picked me to be a choir. And I was like, "I don't want to be a choir. What? I don't want to sing." She was like, "Oh no, you shy. Come on." And I was like, "What?" And she made me, what is it? Be more myself, like you said, more comfortable. Yes. Yeah, she like the at-home experience. I was kind of loud in the classroom because sometimes I'd be like to myself, but she'd be like, "No, I can get loud. If you get comfortable enough, he'll get excited."
And they see something in us.
Yes.
Right? Before the world puts labels on us, they see something that's special. And that's one thing about us as a people. And I always talk about the human race. And I teach U.S. history, but I focus on people that look like me. And I focus on the people that have put atrocities against people like me. But all of us started off with a beautiful teacher, and every profession has been created and trained by a teacher.
Yes. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Well, I'm going to transition to one of my most personal parts. For me, is music. Music is a big thing for me, and it's a big thing of cultures and things that I feel like we share, and I feel like there's a spiritual sense of music that we all connect to. Before I ask you who the Queens of Soul are, is there any artists or women artists or artists that impacted, I guess, music for you spiritually or more of a revolutionary sense, like more of a spoken word, I guess?
See, I love all music.
That's good.
Julia Amanda Perry was the first woman to have her music played by the BBC Philharmonic and the Vienna Philharmonic back in the 40s.
Ooh, okay.
Right. I love soul music. Aretha Franklin can sing not only gospel music, but I saw her in concert at Miller Auditorium.
Oh, wow.
And Aretha broke out in opera.
Oh, what?
And I was stunned.
Oh.
That your voice is such a tool that can transition, right, genres. And she sang country music.
I didn't know that.
And so I love music. I love gospel music, Shirley Caesar. I love Mary J. Blige. Like, I'm listening to music all day long.
That's good.
Every day.
That's good.
Somebody asked me, do you like female artists versus male artists? I like both.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you say Queens of Soul, I like music.
Okay.
Anthony Hamilton, that got me through college, right? And so Nappy Roots.
Nappy Roots.
Yeah. Okay. I just love music.
Good thing.
Is there anyone that doesn't get enough recognition out there that you would like to put us on?
No, because I'm old school, 80s, 90s.
I
just love...
you can put us on that.
Yeah.
You can still put us on.
I just love... I like Nina Simone.
Nina Simone, okay.
Yeah. I don't have any new artists to
No, we want
introduce.
Oh no, we want old. We don't want anybody new. Mm-mm.
Not like old.
Yeah, I'm about to say yeah. We didn't mean it like that.
You listen to the old school just as much. I know I listen to the old school just as much, and we do too. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just love.
take it to the
I like
80s,
choir
90s.
music. I love Mississippi Mass Choir.
Oh, okay.
So
Mississippi Mass
Mass
Choir.
Choir, yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So-
Cause music art, a music history class I was taking was taught me about like the Gregorian chant and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to hear like I guess Renaissance music, the different age gaps of music. So that's why I really like the music
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
question
I
because
like hymnlining. Like I could come out of the Baptist tradition and AME.
what's
And
hymnlining?
hymnlining,
What's that?
oh my, there's no way I could do it.
Ah.
But if you got to play it.
Okay,
Right?
okay.
Hymnlining, like it's that in the Baptist church, it's a sound, and then the whole church breaks out doing it. It's called hymnlining.
Wait, is that when like the beat is playing or
The
something?
deacons it's usually the deacons that start the humming. And you hear it.
She give us a little.
I can't do it.
You can
I
give us a
can't do
little.
it.
You
I
can give us a
can't do
little.
If they were doing it,
You were doing it.
then I would do
We
it.
can get a.
Yeah, I would.
I
do
get to
it.
start.
But I can't.
I get you started.
Because that used to be my favorite parts of church. Before I even
God,
like started
yes.
understanding what church was, I was like, oh wow. I was like, I can feel it in my spirit.
Feel
Something.
it. You feel it. Yeah. So I don't have any artists to introduce to you, but I mean, I
Okay.
just like.
You dropped a
music.
lot of.
You dropped a lot of names, yeah. So
Yeah, a lot of amazing.
I was just trying to see if there was one personally that you wanted, but nah, it's
All of them.
fun.
I just enjoy music.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll hand this back over to you, Kendall. We can close it out.
Thank you. Yeah. Really appreciating you walking us down through all this. It's been amazing. You really set the bar for our experiences for what's History Month. And I mean, I literally almost teared up just watching y'all talk because I don't know. You don't know our stories, right? And where we've come from to get to this place, be able to talk to you and feel deserving. And you people in our comments, we're still working through like our own self-belief and empowering ourselves. So I really thank you for real. Like, this is it means a lot to us. And like we were really fed today.
Good.
And
Glad.
I'm looking over at my best friend. Like, look at him go. Look at him go. Like, you know, us on a Saturday. What did you say? You had you also took a year off, right? We took a year off too. We were just kicking it.
Yes.
We were just kicking it for a little while too, a year or two, right? So I'm thinking about an experience. I was out with Hannah and Naya yesterday. I met a powerful man in the community that knew me from that season, right? I got to re-engage with him, and it just like it was a moment to take a step back and be like, wow, really came a long way. And being able to be here with you just like shows us to really get to that feeling about like when you walk out of this space, we're gonna be here, right? And the feeling that you've brought for all of us is undeniable. But the gratitude I'm really having is just for all of our stories being here, that we've struggled and made it to this space to be able to talk about it. So just thank you for real. You don't know that you'll get to know us better as we, bother you and be around you. The community mother, Dr. Parker, right?
Yeah.
But really, thank you. I just can't say that enough. I know we're coming to a close, but for all the people, and I really appreciate that you gave us a real personal look. Because we wanted to be. Everyone talks about the big matriarchs and the big names, but these people who had a real impact on your life, your lived experiences, who informed your practices, deserve the equal amount of honor, especially for someone who's done so much in this community, so much under this community. Again, she's done so much for this community, And so again, just thank you for being here, and you did amazing. You look great.
Thank you. I'll say one more thing to
Absolutely.
you. Just being on this street and me having walked this street at 18, 19, 20 years old, and I just want to tell you all and to your listeners that sometimes in life you could feel like you're standing in front of a skyscraper and you're looking all the way up and the building is so high to accomplish the things that you want to do in life. But for me to be in this space and to be interviewed by the both of you, who are young men that are striving to live a life, to live a fulfilling life by providing knowledge. Knowledge is key. Education is key. And then the two gentlemen that are behind the camera that have created this space. Space didn't just show up.
No.
They had to put in the paperwork, they had to have the idea, they had to have the thought, right?
The struggle too. Yeah.
That's right. And so that we need to encourage each other. And I just am so encouraged by the four of you that you even decided to do this and create a space for knowledge, to create a space where knowledge can be percolated. It can be massaged, right? And that there's humor. And so even when you're standing next to that skyscraper, always know, yes, I got a PhD, but there's a story that every floor of that skyscraper, I had to endure something. And you too will have to endure something, but you don't never give up.
Never.
And be kind to people, because you never know what people are going through.
That's real. That's so
You
real.
never
And
know.
when you see people who look like you, say hello.
Always.
Always say what's up.
How you doing? And leave it at that. It doesn't hurt to smile,
Never.
right? It never hurts to be encouraging. And I would invite the community to come down to this space. I just learned that it's a rented space. I saw pictures of a beautiful wedding. There's spoken word down here. And
Sure
so I
is.
give a huge shout out. I know there's going to be a commercial, describe it even more. But if I leave you with anything, I leave my name here at this place. They say I was treated beautifully. It's a wonderful place. And what I put my name on, I stand by.
Period. Point blank. Hey, drop the mic. Drop the mic for us. Drop the mic for us. Drop the mic for us. Yeah, that's fire. Oh, that was great.
I enjoyed the story so much. You almost made me cry a whole bunch of times.
So sweet.